Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message we received it via our email address, and the message reads like this. Hello brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my story as hidden identity? I am a lady who was involved with a lot of scammers. Let me start by saying that I never thought that I'll end up working with these scammers, because when I got involved with my husband, I thought that mine was the perfect marriage, but there was something that happened along the way. My husband then started dating this other lady that he was working with. I only heard about these rumors after that lady had fallen pregnant for my husband. The time that I tried to fight for my marriage, my husband told me that he didn't love me anymore. I thought that maybe he was joking, but after a couple of nights, my husband not returning back home, that is when I realized that indeed my husband didn't love me anymore. I tried, Brother Nashi. I even reached a point in my life when I told my husband that I was okay if he was going to take another wife, but my husband told me that he didn't love me anymore and I should move on with my life because he was already moving on with his life, and I should not stress him, because by me stressing him, I was also stressing his new wife, and he didn't want anything to happen to his unborn baby. He told me that if anything ever happens to his unborn baby, then I was going to be in a lot of trouble. I tried staying with my husband, but he became so violent towards me such that I had to run away from my own matrimonial home. Then I returned back to the village. When I returned back to the village, my parents were deeply hurt. Me and my husband and my husband's parents and also my parents, we were all going to the same church. When this scandal came out into the open, it caused so much division in the church in which I was attending. When I saw that there was so much division in the church, I then decided to stop going to church at all, because I had seen that a lot of people, they'll pretend as if they love you, but at the time of your need, most of the people will run away from you. The reason why there was so much division in the church, it is because my in-laws, there were people that were considered to be wealthy in our village. They were assisting a lot of people in the church. So most of the people in our church, they didn't want to be seen as if they were supporting me. So they started to support my husband in his adulterous relationship, because at that time, me and my husband, we were still legally married. And the doctrine of our church, it was that you were not supposed to divorce your wife. You are only supposed to divorce your wife if you have found her in bed with another man. But my husband divorced me, and our pastor supported that divorce. Within a short period of time, my husband and his new wife, they got married. This was after my husband and I had gotten divorced. After my husband had divorced me, I returned back to the city and I started working as a maid. And when I was working as a maid, that is when I started spending most of my time online. When I had finished my duties, I'll just go online, then I'll start chatting with a lot of men. It was never my intention to scam all of these desperate ladies. But what happened is that there was this other day, I had just uploaded my brother's profile picture. Then I just left him on my profile picture. So I was in this other dating group on WhatsApp. Then there was this other young lady, and from the moment that she started speaking with me, I quickly realized that she was also a desperate lady who had been hurt so much in love. Then I decided to take advantage of her. Instead of me telling her that I was also a woman, I just pretended and I played along. I pretended as if I was the man that she thought she was speaking to. do. I then sent her a lot of pictures. Whenever I would want to send her some pictures, I would ask for those pictures from my brother. Unsuspectingly, my brother would send me most of his latest pictures. Then I would send those pictures to that lady that I was speaking with. That lady quickly fell in love with me, and that is when I realized that it was quite easy to scam someone when you have pretended as if you have fallen in love with them online. Whenever I will not be online, that lady would ask me why I was not online, and I avoided all of her calls, and I made sure that I never spoke with her using voice notes. I was only texting her. Then I would tell her that I don't have any data at all. Then she would quickly send me some data. Sometimes she would send me some airtime. When I was dating that desperate young woman, that is when I can say I graduated to become a scammer. I started making a lot of friends online. I would target mostly those naive ladies on Facebook, where people will be looking for job opportunities in America or in Europe. Then I would target the most naive of those young ladies. Then I would go to their inbox and I would tell them that I was also in Europe. When I will be chatting with them, that is when I will pretend as if I was already in Europe, as if I was someone who had already made it in Europe. Then I will propose love to them by telling this desperate young lady that I am someone who was already residing in Europe and I was such a guy who had already made it in Europe. I'll be trying to find some common ground between me and that naive, desperate young lady. Most of these young ladies, they would ask me if I can get married to them so that they can find a way to come and join me in Europe. And in the end, I would scam most of these naive young ladies. When I was making a lot of friends on Facebook, that is when I met this other guy. He was already in Europe. I never thought that he was a guy, but after speaking with him, that is when I realized that he was also a scammer, because I had tried to scam him off. I sent him my pictures and I told him that I was a lady and I was just pretending to be a man, but I didn't tell him that I was a scammer. I just told him that I didn't want a lot of people to know that I was available on Facebook. It seemed as if I had fallen in love with that guy, especially when he had sent me proof that indeed he was in Europe. I wanted to get out of Africa. I wanted to be in Europe, but I tried to scam him. That is when he gave me his WhatsApp number and he told me to speak with him. When I was speaking with him on WhatsApp, that is when he told me that from the moment that he started speaking with me, he had realized that I was also a scammer. He told me not to be afraid because he was a scammer even though he was working in Europe. He then bought me my first iPhone and he taught me on how to trick single ladies and to take away the money that they would have worked hard for. He then added me to this other WhatsApp group. Most of these scammers, they have their own WhatsApp groups. So if they get hold of your number or if they get hold of your profile, they'll be forwarding all of those chats and screenshots to that group that they will be in, and they will be giving each other ideas on how to scam you even faster. So you need to be careful. If someone that you do not know approaches you online, you have to know that maybe you are already in target, and maybe in the past there is a scammer that tried to scam you, and maybe the response that you gave to that scammer, there was some hope that you are someone that can be scammed. So they would check your profile to see anything that interests you so that they can scam you. Anyone in this world can be scammed. If a right idea is presented to you in such a clever way, anyone in this world can be scammed. Then that guy told me that he was going to buy a SIM card there in the United Kingdom, and I was going to register my WhatsApp using that UK number. So I used to join a lot of groups, most of these dating WhatsApp groups. And in those dating WhatsApp groups that I would join, when people would see that I'll be using a WhatsApp number, a lot of desperate young ladies would flock to my inbox, and indeed I'll be giving them a lot of hope. I will tell those ladies that will be flocking to my inbox that yes, there was a way for them to come and join me in the United Kingdom, but we needed to trust each other first. But in the end, Brother Nashi, most of these desperate young ladies that were flocking to my WhatsApp inbox, I will just scam them all. All of these things, Brother Nashi, I did them because I was just desperate. And when the money started flowing in, I then stopped working as a maid. I returned back to the village and I managed to renovate my parents' house there in the village. I even bought a car, and all of these things, Brother Nashi, I did from scamming other desperate ladies that were as desperate as I was after my husband had divorced me. There is something that happened to me. So last year, that is when I started chatting with this other single lady. I don't want to mention the country from where she comes from, but from her pictures and from all the money that I stole from her, it seemed as if this lady, she comes from a very wealthy family. So when I started speaking with her, she was open enough with me. She told me that indeed she was married, but her husband was someone who was really cruel. And if he was only cruel, it would be better. But she told me that her husband had came out in the open, but her husband had told her that she didn't want her to tell anyone. Her husband, in short, was gay. Most of the times, her husband will refuse to engage in any sexual activities with her. Most of the times, her husband will just take a sex toy. Then her husband will just use that sex toy on her, but will refuse to have any physical contact with her. Most of the times when she would speak with me, I would see that she was really desperate. Whenever she would send me a voice note, most of the times she would be crying, and I would forward all of these messages to my boss who is in the UK, and he will give me all of the ideas on how to scam this lady. I don't even know where this lady's phone numbers ended up, because this is what they do. If a scammer manages to scam you, then he will sell your numbers to other scammers. And I am just praying that this lady is not going to be scammed in the future, because after I had scammed her, I knew that I left her heart broken. I don't know if she later found out that I was also a lady, but for her sake, for the sake of her heart, I managed to get out of the relationship with her, pretending that I was a man, because I knew that if I was going to break her heart, then her heart will never be healed. As strange as it was, Brother Nashi, but I had fallen in love with that lady, but I could not tell her that I was also a woman, because she thought that she was dating this wealthy guy who was in the United Kingdom. The way that I scammed this lady, I told her that I had this other business trip to this other African country. And after attending that business trip, that is when I was going to fly to her country in Africa so that I can be with her. She had already booked a hotel. I don't know how she felt as she was sitting in that hotel room waiting for me, because she thought that I was a Prince Charming that was going to come and save her out of her terrible marriage. But I was a woman as she was. Maybe if I had told her that I was a woman, maybe me and her, we were going to get involved in this strange relationship. But I was afraid to tell her that I am a woman. I didn't want to break her heart, but she is the only woman that I have loved in this world. I am someone who is attracted to men, but whenever I think about that lady that I scammed, it seemed as if I had truly fallen in love with her. I haven't deleted her chats and her WhatsApp number on my account. I only blocked her on my WhatsApp account, and I don't use that WhatsApp account anymore. I have seen that she have tried to contact me using other numbers, but I know that it is her. I have avoided her for a very long time, since last year. This is the reason why I have came to you, Brother Nashi. Can you please ask your audience to give me any advice? Should I try to get in contact with this lady again. Should I tell her that I am a scammer and I am not a man, I am a woman? But in the process of scamming her, I fell in love with her. I managed to open up a couple of businesses. Even if she wants me to refund the money that I stole from her, I am willing to refund all of the money that I stole from her, because I stole about 9,500 US dollars from her. The way that I scammed her, the time that I told her that I was going to fly to Africa, there was this business seminar that I was going to attend in this certain African country. I then lied to her that my Visa card was having a lot of problems, and in a short period of time, she then told me that she had rushed to the bank and she had opened up a joint account and I could access that joint account online. When she gave me all of the passwords and everything, I then transferred a lot of money from her account. After that, that is when I blocked that lady. I blocked that lady on the night when I was supposed to fly into the country where she comes from, and she had already sent me a lot of pictures telling me that she was going to be waiting for me in this hotel room where she had booked for us. I don't know how she felt when she found out that I was just a scammer. Please give me advice. Should I make any effort to get into contact with this lady again and tell her that I think that I fell in love in the process of scamming her? I have been keeping this as a secret from my boss, who is in the United Kingdom. Please make sure that you keep me as anonymous. Dear listeners, right there was an email that was forwarded to me by one of our admins. Please let us try to speak with our dear sister in the comment section. If you have any confession that you want us to share with the rest of the world, please do not hesitate to contact us via our email address. I'll be back with another episode.